Night in the Amazon does not fall gently. It slides over the water like a lid sealing a container, trapping humidity, heat, and the low, heavy tension of a river where almost everything hunts in the dark. Down in the backwaters, those murky side channels where branches hang low enough to touch the current, the surface shifts with the slow, rhythmic pulses of fish navigating tight, silted corridors. It is a world where vision fades long before danger does. Here, the electric eel is not a curiosity. It is the apex force that shapes the behavior of entire ecosystems, a predator that kills without jaws, claws, speed, or stealth. It kills with physics. The camera drops beneath the surface and light dissolves into suspended clay particles. Every movement softens. The only clarity comes from the eel itself, gliding with the stiff, deliberate motion of an animal designed around its weapon. Calling it a fish undersells it. It is more battery than vertebrate. 3 paired electric organs stacked like biological capacitors running the full length of its body. These organs are made of modified muscle cells, electrocytes, lined in series so that each one adds a tiny bit of voltage to the next. Alone, they are unimpressive. Together, they behave like a living transformer. When the eel fires, hundreds of cells discharge simultaneously, producing a shock powerful enough to override nerves, muscles, and even the rhythm of a beating heart. At rest, the eel is quiet, almost fragile in appearance. It rises, touches the surface for a breath of air, then sinks back down like a ribbon of dark leather. That breath is not optional. Electric eels rely heavily on atmospheric oxygen. Roughly 80% of their intake comes from gulping air. This dependency forces them to the surface every few minutes, exposing them to predators and prey alike. Yet even this weakness is weaponized. Eels know currents. They choose spots where the surface is broken by branches and reeds, where ripples hide their approach. What seems like a casual breath becomes a strategic reset before the next strike. The scene widens. A school of small fish, characins, drifts just upstream. They move in tight synchrony, adjusting to invisible cues. At first, nothing seems wrong. Then, barely perceptible, the eel begins its low-voltage scan. These pulses are weak, harmless, but incredibly informative. They map the environment electrically, detecting shapes and movements hidden by turbidity. Where other predators rely on sight or vibration, the eel reads a different language, one written in the conductivity of water and the resistance of living tissue. The characins sense something shift. Their bodies twitch with reflexive corrections. Some veer off, some try to hold formation. But the eel has already drawn its mental map. It closes the distance without haste, aligning itself in the optimal orientation for its next move. And then, with no dramatic coil or lunge, it fires. The shock is instantaneous. The fish do not flee, they freeze. Their bodies lock, muscles seized mid-stroke. Several flip sideways as nerves misfire and equilibrium collapses. The pulse lasts just a fraction of a second, yet the effect cascades through the entire school. For a moment, the river looks staged, as if time has paused. Then the eel traces through the paralyzed cluster, swallowing one fish after another, almost lazy in its efficiency. This is what selective pressure looks like when an animal evolves a weapon that bypasses the usual chase and capture loop. There is no struggle, no tug-of-war, no escape arc. The eel simply disables life and collects it. But fish are only part of this story. Larger animals are affected too, sometimes with far greater consequences. Switch to a muddy shallows scene. A juvenile caiman glides through knee-deep water, scanning for frogs illuminated by moonlight. It is confident, armored, strong, perfectly built for ambush. What it cannot see is the eel resting along the bottom, partially buried in silt. The caiman brushes within a meter. The eel stiffens, recognizes the displacement pattern, and fires a high-voltage burst, not to kill, but to defend. The caiman convulses, its limbs splay, jaw muscles clamp involuntarily. For several seconds it is locked in an agonized full-body contraction. If this were deeper water, it would drown. Even in the shallows, its lungs struggle against the paralysis. It thrashes once, regains partial control, and retreats in a clumsy, frantic scramble. Moments later, the eel slips away with slow, confident pulses, resetting itself for the next encounter. The physics of that moment is often misunderstood. In movies, electricity in water spreads evenly and instantly electrocutes everything. Reality is harsher and more precise. Electric eels create a strong but localized electric field. Conductive tissues, muscles, nerves, organs act as pathways. The closer the eel is to the target, the more intense the field. Large animals with long bodies can experience severe differential currents, head versus tail, dorsal versus ventral, resulting in violent muscle contractions or total motor override. Those contractions consume oxygen, amplify panic, and make drowning the true killer. This is why the most chilling electric eel stories are not about burns or wounds. They're about people collapsing quietly into the river. Shift to a historical perspective. In parts of the Amazon, older communities still speak cautiously about poraqué, the eel, especially in the wet season when rising water pushes wildlife into flooded forests. Horses crossing deeper channels have been stunned and toppled after unexpected pulses. People washing clothes or stepping into opaque side streams have been knocked unconscious, disappearing without a splash. Not by malice, but by the physical reality of losing control of every muscle needed to breathe or swim. The documentary lens moves into murkier territory now, a slow reenactment of how a human reacts to an eel's full defensive strike. First comes the sudden rigidity, a whole-body cramp that feels like wires pulling under the skin. Then the chest locks, diaphragm frozen, breath trapped. The victim sinks. Underwater, the second or third pulse hits like a defibrillator wired the wrong way. Instead of restarting rhythm, it can disrupt it. The heart stutters, vision narrows. The river absorbs the struggle. Eels do not hunt humans. They simply react to threats with the only tool evolution gave them. The lethality comes from context, darkness, depth, panic, and the unforgiving geometry of a flooded forest. Back to the eel. Its environment shapes every decision. These fish thrive in warm, low-oxygen waters where few predators dare linger. Their ability to breathe air allows them to dominate stagnant oxbow pools during the dry season, places where catfish, piranhas, and even caiman become sluggish. During courtship, males build foam nests to protect offspring from competitors. The nest itself vibrates with low-frequency electric signals, broadcasting territory the way songbirds use song. The river hears everything, so do the eels. The narrator emphasizes a counterintuitive truth. Despite their notoriety, electric eels are not reckless attackers. Their high-voltage discharge costs significant energy, requiring long rest intervals to reset ionic gradients inside electrocytes. Every major pulse is a calculated risk. During the dry season, when pools shrink and prey becomes scarce, eels become territorial and defensive, not aggressive. They fire when cornered, when harassed, or when competing eels stray too close. It's not cruelty, it's survival. The chapter expands the biological context. Electric eels generate two kinds of signals: low-voltage pulses for navigation and communication, high-voltage pulses for prey, capture and defense. This dual-system strategy is effectively a biological version of radar and weaponry combined, a rare convergence in vertebrates. It gives the eel an advantage in low-visibility environments where vision and hearing fail. It also shapes prey behavior. Fish avoid still water pockets, mammals hesitate at flooded trails, and caimans learn to detect the faint electric ripples that hint at an eel's presence. Evolutionary arms races rarely involve electricity. Here, it defines an entire food web. Now the documentary returns to the river at dawn. After a long night of hunting, the eel drifts beneath surface debris. Sunlight angles through openings in the canopy, revealing the quiet aftermath. Paralyzed fish float or recover slowly. A lone heron searches the edges, its steps cautious. Even birds have learned to respect these waters during the wet months. As the camera follows the eel taking another breath, the narrator delivers the thematic anchor. The Amazon doesn't reward strength alone. It rewards specialization. The electric eel is proof. It is a predator that evolved not to outrun prey or overpower rivals, but to override the fundamental electrical language of animal life. Nerves fire because voltage moves. Muscles contract because impulses travel. Hearts beat because cells generate rhythmic currents. The eel doesn't attack the body, it attacks the system controlling the body. In a river full of teeth, claws, venom and armor, nothing else kills this way. Dawn on the forest floor arrives slowly, filtered through layers of foliage so dense that sunlight touches the soil only after it has bounced through entire ecosystems of leaves, vines and mosses. Down here, the air is heavy with rot and sweetness, fermenting fruit, decomposing wood, the musk of small mammals moving through leaf litter. It is a world built for ambush. Nothing moves without disturbing something else. And in this crowded, low-visibility landscape, one predator thrives precisely because it refuses to build a web or stay hidden in a single retreat. It walks. The Brazilian wandering spider is already awake. Its silhouette emerges from the dark crease between two buttress roots, moving with the deliberate, almost cautious gait of an animal that never assumes safety. The spider's long legs rise and fall with exaggerated height, clearing obstacles that would snag lesser hunters. Each step sends tremors through the ground, tremors it reads, not hears, through sensitive receptors on its limbs. Down here, the ecosystem is a quilt of tiny vibrations. Beetles skittering, frogs adjusting posture, lizards scampering for sunlight. The wandering spider interprets these vibrations like a second language, sorting threat from opportunity in fractions of a second. This is a predator designed to operate in chaos. Unlike orb weavers, it does not wait for prey to come to it. Unlike trapdoor spiders, it does not hide beneath soil. It prowls, guided by a blend of tactile acuity, chemical cues and the memory of pathways it has walked many times before. The Amazon floor is a labyrinth of debris, but the spider's nightly routes are precise. It knows the hollows where rodents nest, the logs where frogs shelter, the fallen bark strips that trap insects underneath. Its wandering nature is not aimlessness. It is a strategy rooted in opportunity. As the spider moves, the camera follows closely and reveals the physical details that make this creature notorious. Fangs curve forward, polished to a sheen by repeated bites into prey exoskeletons. The venom glands behind them look swollen but efficient, delivering one of the most potent neurotoxic cocktails produced by any terrestrial predator. Unlike the hemotoxic venom of vipers, slow, destructive, focused on tissue breakdown, this spider's venom assaults the nervous system directly. It hijacks signaling pathways, forcing nerves to fire uncontrollably. Muscles seize, lungs fight to expand. The victim's body becomes a battleground of misfiring electrical impulses. But for now, the spider is calm. The morning temperature is still cool, and temperature matters. Wandering spiders modulate their activity through behavioral thermoregulation, basking briefly on sunlit logs, avoiding midday heat under dense shade, taking advantage of warm, humid nights to hunt with maximum agility. These temperature swings influence venom viscosity, reaction speed, and even prey availability. Ecology is never simple here. Every movement echoes through other systems. The scene transitions to the edge of a small jungle village, an intrusion of human order into the forest's anarchy. The boundary is thin. Wooden homes elevated on stilts, hammocks strung near windows, boots left upside down on porches to keep out scorpions and, more importantly, spiders. But the wandering spider does not care about fences or walls. Its evolutionary history predates human settlement by millions of years. Warm shoes, stacked firewood, banana bunches, and dim corners offer the exact temperatures and hiding spaces it already seeks in the wild. Inside one of these homes, early morning routine begins. The camera follows a boot lifted casually from the floor. Inside, unseen until the last second, the spider braces itself, legs spreading, fangs angled forward. It is not hunting. It is defending the only shelter it found during the night. In this setting, bites occur not from aggression, but from confusion, contact, and the spider's lightning-fast instinct to survive close encounters with animals far larger than itself. When people speak of this spider's aggression, they often exaggerate. The wandering spider is defensive, not reckless. It does not chase humans. It stands its ground when escape routes vanish. When cornered, it lifts its front legs high, exposing fangs, inflating its posture to look larger. This threat display has been misinterpreted as attack mode, when in reality it is a plea for distance. But distance inside a small room disappears quickly, and when it does, the consequences unfold with disturbing efficiency. Cut back to the forest. A mouse forages near a fallen palm fruit, gnawing at the fermenting pulp. The spider closes in, no web, no warning, only calculated motion. In one swift arc, the front legs pin the rodent's muzzle, fangs punch through fur and skin, and venom floods the bloodstream. The mouse thrashes for a moment, then stiffens. Its body contracts in waves as the neurotoxin dismantles the normal function of its nervous system. Sodium channels lock open. Muscles fire without command. Lungs tighten. The animal's breathing becomes shallow, fast, then irregular. Within minutes, the forest quiets around a still form. This reaction mirrors what happens in severe human envenomation, though doses vary. A bite begins with a sharp, burning pain, followed by intense sweating as the autonomic nervous system overloads. The bitten limb spasms, often uncontrollably. Heart rate skyrockets. Vision narrows. Victims describe a sense of internal pressure, as if their own muscles are crushing them from the inside. In severe cases, paralysis spreads to the respiratory muscles, turning each breath into a conscious, desperate effort. Without antivenom, airway support, and rapid medical care, the situation deteriorates dangerously fast. The village medic knows this well. In the Amazon, wandering spider bites are treated as urgent emergencies. Even mild symptoms can escalate unpredictably. The venom's complexity, containing dozens of peptides with varied effects, makes outcomes inconsistent. Children are especially vulnerable due to smaller body mass. Adults face a different hazard: the venom's ability to trigger systemic autonomic storms, causing blood pressure swings, nausea, and in rare cases, cardiac complications. And then there is the bizarre side effect that captured global attention for years: the involuntary, prolonged vasodilation in males, a physiological response that became meme fodder online but remains a serious medical concern in real cases. Here, however, the documentary keeps the tone grounded. It is a dangerous, painful, and potentially life-threatening symptom of a venom that does not discriminate. It reflects the venom's broad-spectrum neurological impact, not a punchline. The camera returns to the forest floor, shifting perspective to the spider's role in the ecosystem. Despite its reputation, the wandering spider is not an unhinged killer. It is a regulator of insect populations, keeping in check species that damage vegetation and spread disease. It preys on frogs, a valuable source of protein, and sometimes on other spiders, maintaining balance through predation. In turn, it is preyed upon by birds, wasps, and even small mammals, despite its formidable defenses. The jungle does not operate on fear, it operates on energy. Every creature pays into that economy. The spider climbs a low branch now, scanning for chemical cues. Its sensory world is dominated not by sight, but by smell and vibration. Hairs on its legs detect airborne molecules with extraordinary precision, allowing it to track pheromone trails left by prey, rivals, or potential mates. Sensory adaptations like these influence movement patterns across seasons. During the dry season, when the forest floor becomes brittle and open, the spiders take refuge in cooler, moister microhabitats, hollow logs, root tangles, and caves. During the wet season, abundance returns and wandering increases. The spider's migrations are short but meaningful. They reshape local prey dynamics, rebalance food webs, and influence where villagers find them. Even its reproductive behavior has ecological consequences. Males searching for females risk predation at every turn. Females guarding egg sacs become aggressively territorial, increasing bite incidents near human dwellings. Hatchlings disperse widely, each one tiny but fully capable of hunting small insects. Survival is low, predators consume most, but enough survive to maintain the species' presence across vast swaths of the Amazon basin. Late afternoon returns to the village edge. Children run between stilts of wooden homes. Dogs sleep in shaded corners, and beneath a pile of harvested bananas, a wandering spider rests quietly, legs folded, venom glands full, simply waiting out the heat. It is not plotting, it is surviving. Humans created structures full of ideal hiding places, dark, warm, consistent microclimates that mirror the spider's preferred refuge spots in the wild. This shared boundary, forest meeting settlement, creates unavoidable overlap. But coexisting with a venomous animal does not mean fearing it irrationally. It means respecting the evolutionary logic behind its design. The spider is not cursed or malicious. It is a creature tuned to detect threat, exploit darkness, and protect itself with the tools evolution provided. It walks because walking works. It bites because biting is the last option left when escape fails. As night returns, temperature drops, and humidity climbs, the spider emerges again to resume its wandering circuit, one defined not by randomness, but by ecological purpose. It travels the same fallen branches, the same leaf tunnels, the same human paths it has explored before. And somewhere between the forest and the village, the line between wilderness and habitation blurs once more. This is the Amazon's reality, danger woven into routine, biology walking beneath boots, neurotoxin hidden in fruit crates, and evolution pushing every species to stay alert or fall behind. The wandering spider thrives here, not because it is the most venomous, but because it is adaptable, perceptive, and perfectly calibrated to a world where survival demands movement. The chapter opens with the quiet hiss of rain, the soft percussion of water striking leaves, soil, and exposed roots. The forest floor glistens, every surface lacquered with moisture, every scent amplified. Rain in the Amazon doesn't wash noise away. It changes the register of the entire ecosystem. Frogs call deeper. Insects shelter under leaves. Predators move slowly. And in this subdued, freshly washed world, something dark rustles beneath a fallen branch. At first glance, the ant looks unremarkable, larger than most, yes, nearly the length of a human fingernail, but still just an ant following a trail laid hours earlier by its colony. It moves with the steady, mechanical rhythm typical of social insects, deliberate steps, antennae sweeping in small arcs. Nothing about its posture hints at the reality hidden inside its stinger. If anything, the bullet ant is deceptively calm. The camera sinks to ground level, letting the viewer study the ant's body up close. Powerful mandibles capable of slicing plant fibers, segment lines that flex as it navigates uneven terrain, and most importantly, the curved stinger, sheathed but ready beneath the abdomen. That stinger delivers one of the most excruciating experiences known in the natural world. Not because the ant is large, but because evolution invested heavily in a venom, designed not merely to wound, but to dominate the nervous system. As the lens tracks the lone worker, the wider ecological picture emerges. Bullet ants belong to the genus Paraponera, colonial giants living in woody cavities or soil mounds at the base of rainforest trees. Their colonies are smaller than those of leafcutters or army ants. They do not overwhelm the forest with numbers. Instead, they invest in power, worker size, defensive coordination, and a chemical arsenal unmatched in the insect world. A bullet ant colony cannot afford repeated battles with predators or raids from rival ants. Their survival strategy relies on deterrence. Make the cost of attack so disproportionately high that most animals never attempt it twice. The rain slows. A shaft of sunlight breaks through the canopy. As light touches the leaves, the ant climbs a mossy root, its body gleaming. At this moment, the narration shifts from quiet observation to biological reality. Inside the ant's venom sac is a neurotoxin called batrachotoxin, a molecule engineered by evolution to hack into the peripheral nervous system. Unlike hemolytic venoms that break down tissue, batrachotoxin manipulates electrical signaling. It locks sodium channels open along nerve fibers, forcing them to fire repeatedly and uncontrollably. Pain is not just triggered, it is amplified, recycled, and sustained. Victims don't simply feel pain, they experience an unending cascade of false alarm signals blasting through every nerve connected to the affected limb. The camera cuts to a slow-motion sequence of the ant testing its surroundings with antennae. Viewers now understand that this quiet, methodical insect carries a weapon capable of producing agony, often compared to gunshot trauma, a comparison that gave the ant its common name. Reports describe the sting as immediate, overwhelming, and strangely deep, as if the pain originates from the bone rather than the skin. But the documentary takes a deliberate step back from dramatization and returns to grounded science. The pain is not an exotic curse. It is the physiological outcome of sodium channels stuck in the open position. Muscles contract in waves. Sensory nerves discharge without pause. The brain receives continuous alerts of catastrophic damage. At higher doses, the venom causes trembling, sweating, nausea, and temporary paralysis. Pain can last 12 hours or more, an evolutionary insurance policy that ensures predators never risk a second encounter. Transition now to a human context. A clearing deep in the forest where members of the Satera Mawe community prepare for a ritual older than the borders that divide Amazon nations. This is the glove ceremony, an ordeal that binds cultural identity to the raw experience of biological pain. The documentary avoids spectacle. Instead, it contextualizes the tradition as both a rite of passage and a testament to endurance, skill, and the community's relationship with the natural world. Men gather bullet ants by carefully coaxing them into woven leaves. The ants are not killed, they are subdued briefly with smoke that dulls their aggression. Then, one by one, they are woven into the interior of glove-like mitts made of palm fiber, stingers pointed inward. The ants recover within minutes, alert and ready to defend themselves against whatever presses against them. Here the storytelling slows to let the viewer feel the weight of the moment. Young initiates stand near the fire pits, shaking not from fear of the ceremony, but from knowing exactly what those ants can do. The community does not hide that truth. The pain is part of the lesson. Enduring it is a symbolic transition from childhood to adulthood, from individual comfort to communal responsibility. The boy places his hands inside the glove. Instantly, the forest quiet shifts. His arms lock, breath catches, muscles twitch and stiffen. The venom floods peripheral nerves in dozens of injection points at once, overwhelming the normal rhythm of signaling. The pain radiates up the arms into the shoulders, chest, and even the jaw. His body trembles, both from involuntary contractions and from the shock of pain that feels strangely electrified, as if heat and pressure are competing to dominate the same limb. The documentary resists the temptation to dramatize or exaggerate. It stays anchored in physiology. The boy's shaking is not a sign of weakness or theatrics. It is his nervous system firing without order. Sodium channels hold open. Motor neurons misfire. Pain receptors fire in loops. Sweat drips down his face. The body interprets the venom as an emergency demanding full autonomic response. Heart rate rises, breathing quickens, pupils dilate. Yet the ceremony continues because the community understands something modern medicine also acknowledges. The pain, while extreme, is temporary. Bullet ant venom is not typically lethal. It is not designed to kill mammals. It is designed to convince anything much larger than the ants that attacking their colony is not worth the effort. The narrative now returns to ecology. In the wild, bullet ants deploy their sting primarily as a defensive measure. They defend their colonies against predators, anteaters, tamanduas, ground-dwelling birds, and rival ant species. Their size and potent sting give them an advantage not based on numbers, but on psychological warfare. One painful lesson imprints itself for life. We watch a predator's perspective. A small tamandua pushes its snout into a rotting log, searching for termites. It gets too close to a bullet ant nest. The first sting lands on the soft tissue of the snout. The reaction is immediate. A violent recoil, frantic rubbing, rapid retreat. The mammal abandons the promising feeding site entirely. For a colony with limited workers and precious brood chambers, this single successful defense is a matter of survival. Evolution favors pain because pain protects. The camera returns to the forest floor, where workers continue their daily tasks, foraging, scouting, cleaning brood chambers. They are not aggressive without cause. They do not waste venom. They move with purpose, navigating trails that stretch across meters of forest debris. Their sensory world includes pheromone gradients, humidity patterns, and micro-temperature zones that inform when and where they forage. Bullet ants are omnivores, feeding on small arthropods, nectar, and plant juices, and they form mutualistic relationships with certain plants whose extrafloral nectaries offer rewards in exchange for defense against herbivores. The documentary dives deeper into the biology. The ants' large size is not just for intimidation, it allows them to house more sophisticated musculature for climbing, grasping, and manipulating food. Their sensory hairs pick up subtle vibrations transmitted through soil and wood, helping them detect threats approaching the colony. Their mandibles, shaped like curved guillotines, can grip prey while the stinger delivers venom. And that venom, batrachotoxin, does more than simply cause pain. Laboratory studies show it can interfere with insect motor function, making small prey easier to immobilize. But the venom is more valuable as a defensive deterrent than a hunting tool. Bullet ants are not efficient predators. They are guardians, living barricades against intrusion. Returning to the satere mawe ritual, the boy finally removes his hands from the glove. His arms tremble uncontrollably. He stumbles. In many cases, this trembling continues for hours, accompanied by lingering pain that radiates up to the shoulders. But he is surrounded by family and elders who have endured the same trial, who understand that the suffering connects generations. Pain becomes a cultural language, a measure of resilience, a shared memory, a lived metaphor for the strength expected of adulthood. The documentary draws a parallel between human endurance and ecological logic. Just as the boy's trial strengthens his identity, the ant's venom strengthens their colony's security. Pain becomes function. Pain becomes adaptation. Evening returns to the forest floor. The rain begins again. A bullet ant emerges from a root tunnel, antennae sweeping the air. Its legs move with calm determination. It does not know its sting has shaped human culture. It does not know it carries one of biology's most precise neurological weapons. It simply follows its trail, maintaining a colony whose survival depends on a defense so intense that even the bravest predators hesitate to test it. In a landscape dominated by jaguars, venomous snakes, deadly spiders, and electric eels, the most agonizing, experience often comes from an insect the size of a paperclip. The bullet ant's power lies not in its size, but in its strategy. Defend the colony with such overwhelming force that danger learns to walk in the opposite direction. The forest floor fades into darkness, but the message remains. In the Amazon, pain is not punishment. It is communication. It is evolution's way of declaring boundaries that even the fiercest predators respect. Rain glazes the forest leaves in a thin, glassy film, turning every color deeper and more saturated. Light bounces from wet surfaces in sharp, almost metallic flashes. Deep on the forest floor, among buttress roots and bromeliad pools, the Amazon shows its brightest colors not on flowers or birds, but on a creature no larger than a thumbprint. A poison dart frog, impossibly vivid, yellows that glow like molten metal, blues as sharp as neon signs, reds that cut through the green gloom, moves with slow precision across a damp log. It looks theatrical, almost playful. It is neither. The frog is a signal, not a warning shouted in panic, but a declaration crafted by evolution. Touch me and die. Aposematism, the use of bright coloration to advertise toxicity, is common across insects, mollusks, and amphibians, but poison dart frogs elevate it to an evolutionary art form. Their colors don't blend into the forest, they interrupt it. This visual contrast is not camouflage, but communication. Predators see it, process it, and, if they survive the lesson, carry the memory for life. In the humid, low-light forest, color becomes as functional as fangs or venom. It is a neon boundary line drawn across the food web. The frog on the log pauses, inflates slightly, and readjusts its posture. Its tiny feet grip slick moss with precision. It blinks slowly, as though nothing in the world could threaten it. And that confidence is earned. Packed in its skin is one of the deadliest toxins in nature, batrachotoxin. Unlike venoms delivered through fangs or stingers, this toxin is passive but potent. It sits on the frog's skin, ready to transfer through touch, scrape, or ingestion. In microscopic doses, it disrupts nerve function. In larger doses, it destroys the body's ability to regulate itself entirely. The documentary lens tightens, pulling us into the microscale world of the toxin itself. Batrachotoxin does not break cells, dissolve tissue, or cause immediate pain. Instead, it targets the fundamental wiring system of animals, sodium channels. These channels allow nerves and muscles to fire in precisely timed electrical pulses, signals that control everything from muscle contraction to heartbeat. Batrachotoxin forces these channels open and prevents them from closing. The result is catastrophic: constant nerve firing, uncontrolled muscle contractions, arrhythmias that spiral into cardiac failure. A predator that bites the frog may not even finish swallowing before its heart loses rhythm. The narration stays grounded. The toxin is not magic, it is biology weaponized. The camera now pans outward, revealing the frog's surroundings. Small insects crawl along leaf litter. A bird hops nearby, cocking its head, evaluating food options, but not one touches the frog. Natural selection has sculpted a delicate balance. Predators with sensitive taste receptors detect the frog's alkaloids immediately. Those who ignore the signal do not live long enough to pass on the mistake genetically. Thus, color becomes language, and language becomes survival. And yet, in a twist that mirrors the complexity of the Amazon itself, the frog is not the true architect of its own toxicity. The scene shifts to microscopic imagery layered over forest shots. Poison dart frogs do not synthesize batrachotoxin from scratch. They acquire it. The frogs feed on specific arthropods, alkaloid-loaded ants, beetles, millipedes, and especially small mites that contain precursor molecules. Through metabolic processes still not fully understood, the frogs refine these dietary alkaloids into more potent forms and store them in skin glands. Remove the frogs from this diet, raise them in captivity on fruit flies and crickets, and they lose their toxicity entirely. Their bright colors remain, but the weapon behind the signal disappears. This ecological dependency reveals an evolutionary architecture built across multiple taxa, frogs, arthropods, and plants, contributing indirectly to a chemical defense strategy that reverberates through the ecosystem. Toxicity is not a trait of the frog alone. It is a networked trait. The documentary shifts to an indigenous perspective, deep in the rainforest, where the connection between humans and this frog stretches back centuries. A group of hunters moves quietly beneath towering palms. Their movements are efficient, practiced, and careful. They carry slender blowguns and darts crafted from palm spines. On the forest floor, they search for the frogs, not to kill them, but to harvest the weapon hidden in their skin. This process requires expertise. Many species of poison frog are too small or too variable in toxicity to be used in hunting. Only specific local species, especially those from the genus Philobates, are desirable. The hunters know which ones carry enough toxin to fell large game. The camera follows as a man gently holds a frog over a leaf and warms it near a flame. The frog secretes droplets of toxin in response to stress, not sprayed, not squirted, but released gradually from skin glands. The hunter carefully rubs dart tips along the frog's back, coating them with a nearly invisible layer of batrachotoxin. The frog is then released, unharmed. Its skin continues regenerating toxin. The dart, however, becomes a precision weapon. Here the film reveals the sheer potency of the toxin. A dart coated in batrachotoxin can bring down animals thousands of times larger than the frog. A scratch from a properly prepared dart is enough to drop a monkey from the canopy within minutes. A tapir hit in the flank stumbles within steps. The toxin does not rely on bloodstream delivery alone. It can pass through thin mucous membranes or enter through the smallest puncture. But the narration remains sober, careful to maintain documentary tone. These practices are not dramatic spectacle or cultural curiosity. They are functional adaptations. In dense rainforest where visibility is low and game is scarce, efficient hunting is essential. Ironically, the frog's signal, meant to protect it from predators, has been co-opted by humans as a hunting tool. The frog warns predators, and humans interpret the warning correctly. This is a chemical resource worth respecting. The angle shifts to physiology. As the toxin travels through a victim's body, sodium channels in nerve cells fail catastrophically. Muscles contract without coordination. Sensory nerves fire continuously, overwhelming the system. In the heart, where electrical rhythms must be precise, the toxin wrecks the timing. Arrhythmias follow, ventricular fibrillation, conduction blocks, and eventually full cardiac arrest. Unlike venoms that cause swelling or necrosis, batrachotoxin kills by breaking the system that makes movement, perception, and life possible, electrical signaling. The frog itself is immune to its toxin. Its sodium channels contain small but critical variations in structure that prevent batrachotoxin from binding. This evolutionary tweak, simple at the molecular scale, translates into dominance at the ecological scale. The frog's predators are limited to a few uniquely resistant species, and even they proceed with extreme caution. The chapter now circles back to visual storytelling, linking the frog's glowing skin to the signal theme. These colors are not just decoration, they act as evolutionary billboards. The irony is striking. The more toxic the frog, the brighter and more beautiful it becomes. Danger and beauty converge in a single organism, a physiological contradiction that confounds inexperienced predators and fascinates biologists. But color alone does not protect the frog. Environmental context matters. In areas where toxic arthropods are scarce, frogs lose potency. Their signals become hollow threats. In these regions, predators test them more often, and the balance shifts. Toxicity is dynamic, not fixed. It is shaped by geography, diet, and microhabitat. Captive breeding programs around the world unintentionally demonstrate this. Generations of dart frogs raised on non-toxic feeds produce offspring that are visually identical to their wild counterparts, but chemically harmless. The frogs remain symbols of danger, but the danger itself evaporates without the ecological machinery that sustains it. The documentary leans into this ecological nuance. The frog's identity as a toxin carrier is not a standalone adaptation. It is a finely tuned collaboration between environment, metabolism, and natural selection, a system that breaks down the moment one part is removed. As the frog continues its journey along the moss-covered log, the rain intensifies, blurring the edges of leaves and sending thin rivulets down the bark. Droplets cling to the frog's back, magnifying its colors into distorted, shimmering orbs. A predator, perhaps a snake, perhaps a bird, watches from a distance but does not approach. The signal has done its job. There is no chase, no strike, no struggle. The frog's protection is one of the simplest and most efficient in the animal kingdom. Look at me, understand me, leave me alone. The chapter ends with a thematic echo. In a jungle full of sharp teeth, crushing jaws, suffocating coils, and catastrophic venoms, some of the most powerful weapons are invisible. Chemical forces that rewrite biology from the inside out. The poison dart frog is a reminder that danger in the Amazon is not scaled by size. It is scaled by chemistry, by signal, by the evolutionary accidents that turned a tiny amphibian into a molecule factory capable of shaping predator behavior and human culture alike. In this forest, the brightest creature may also be the deadliest, but only if the ecosystem keeps feeding the weapon it carries. Moisture clings to everything on the forest floor, fallen palm fibers swollen from rain, bark softening into spongy layers, and a sweet rot rising from wood that has been breaking down for decades. Deep in the crevice of a decaying log, the camera enters a world where darkness is so complete that even bioluminescent fungi seem muted. Small insects shuffle through pulp. Termites dig slow, methodical tunnels. Beetle larvae curl in pale coils. The air is warm, still and thick. Then something stirs. First, a glint, copper, red, almost metallic, reflecting the faintest ambient light. It moves with a smooth, liquid rhythm that doesn't match anything else in this micro-world. A segment slides forward, then another, then dozens more. The creature that emerges is longer than the viewer expects, plated like armor and alive with movement. The giant centipede, Scolopendra, unfolds itself from the log with a fluidity that borders on unnatural. Its body is a chain of hardened segments, each bearing a pair of legs that move like a coordinated wave, dozens of limbs perfectly synchronized. But the most unsettling detail lies at the front. What look like oversized fangs are not mouthparts at all, but modified legs. Venom claws called forcipules, curved like surgical tools and capable of delivering a chemical shock engineered by evolution to attack nerve function with surgical precision. The centipede lifts its body slightly, tasting the air with antennae longer than its head. It is not an insect. It is a predator from a more ancient blueprint, a lineage older than dinosaurs, optimized for tight spaces, darkness, and ambush. The narration follows the centipede as it begins to hunt. Unlike spiders, which rely on webs, or snakes, which strike from concealment, Scolopendra patrols. Its sensory world is dominated by vibration, humidity shifts, and chemical trails. Its elongated body lets it thread through root systems, slip under bark, and enter animal burrows where prey feels safest. This body shape has a cost. It exposes the centipede to injury if prey struggles too hard. Evolution compensated for that vulnerability with one of the most aggressive venoms in the arthropod world. Now the chapter transitions into biology with cinematic precision. Scolopendra venom is not a single toxin. It is a neurotoxic cocktail aimed at one target: ion channels in nerves. Sodium and potassium channels, structures responsible for electrical impulses, become hijacked. The venom forces channels open or interrupts their closing cycle, sending waves of uncontrolled signaling across nerve fibers. Pain becomes instantaneous and overwhelming, spreading outward from the bite as nerves fire repeatedly and involuntarily. This is the white-hot pain survivors describe, pain that seems too large for the size of the wound. A frog hops into view, landing lightly on damp leaves. The centipede freezes. Its antennae sweep forward. Within seconds, it calculates distance, orientation, and the exact moment of attack. There is no sound warning what will happen next. The strike is explosive. The centipede lunges upward in a fluid, whip-like motion, wrapping its front segments around the frog with astonishing speed. Forcipules puncture skin. Venom flows. The frog thrashes once, maybe twice, but coordination falters almost immediately. The toxin shuts down the nervous system's ability to time muscle movements. Legs twitch but fail to push against the ground. The frog's attempts at escape collapse into irregular spasms. Within seconds, it loses the ability to orient itself. The centipede does not wait for full paralysis. Its entire predatory strategy is based on speed. Disable first, subdue second, then feed. With dozens of limbs gripping the frog's body, it begins to chew from the softer areas, consuming while the frog is still alive but incapacitated. This is not cruelty. It is efficiency. Centipedes do not have the luxury of slow kills. A struggling prey item could break their elongated body, tear limbs, or attract predators. Their venom evolved to prevent that cost. The camera pulls back, leaving the micro-battle and rising into the human world, the border between civilization and wildness. Villagers along the Amazon know Scolopendra not as a rare curiosity, but as a recurring, unpredictable hazard. These animals climb, squeeze and hide with frightening ease. They slip into firewood piles, behind wash basins, beneath sleeping mats, inside shoes. Hammocks, those airy retreats meant to keep sleepers above the insects of the forest floor, offer no guarantee of safety. Night footage reveals the centipede's true nature as a nocturnal hunter. Drawn by warmth and movement, individuals sometimes crawl across fabric toward sleeping humans. Most encounters end without incident. But when a centipede feels trapped, against skin, under a blanket, pressed by a shifting limb, it does what evolution trained it to do. It bites. A human bite sequence unfolds now in clinical detail. A man asleep in a hammock shifts his weight. Something warm and elongated brushes his ankle. He twitches reflexively, trapping the creature beneath the fabric. The centipede reacts instantly. Forcipules punch into skin. The pain is immediate. Not a slow burn, not a sting, but a violent shock that explodes upward along the limb. Victims often describe the burning as pure nerve fire, radiating along the path of the nearest nerves. Swelling blooms around the wound. Skin reddens and tightens. The affected limb becomes hard to move, not from structural damage, but from sensory chaos, signals firing in every direction, overwhelming the brain's ability to interpret sensation. In some cases, the pain triggers systemic symptoms: dizziness, nausea, tremors, heart palpitations, even difficulty breathing. Painkillers barely dent this experience. That is not because the pain is psychological, it is because the venom alters nerve function directly. Analgesics that numb typical injuries fail to compete with nerve fibers firing in prolonged, unregulated waves. The body must metabolize the venom naturally, a process that can take hours. Some bites leave residual numbness or tingling for days. The narration stays serious, not sensational. Death from centipede bites is exceedingly rare. The danger lies not in lethality, but in neurophysiological mayhem, the way a small injection can disrupt the body's electrical rhythm and overwhelm the victim with pain and muscular dysfunction. For children, the elderly or individuals with heart conditions, the risk escalates, but the real power of the centipede is deterrence, not execution. Back in the forest, the documentary zooms out to show the ecological logic behind such venom. Scolopendra hunts in conditions where vision is limited, prey is fast, and the predator itself is physically vulnerable. Its long, flexible body can bend around obstacles and slip into tight spaces, but that same flexibility means it cannot absorb heavy impacts or prolonged struggles. A rat or lizard twisting violently could tear the centipede in half. The venom evolved to counter this vulnerability by disabling prey before they can inflict damage. The moment forcipules make contact, the prey's body ceases to function as an integrated whole. This evolutionary pressure also explains the centipede's unmatched agility. It can climb vertical surfaces, sprint across uneven leaf litter, and even swim, all while coordinating dozens of legs in perfect sequence. Each leg operates semi-independently, but communicates through centralized nerve pathways that give the centipede remarkably fast reflexes. It is a mechanical marvel, a segmented nervous system supporting a predator that behaves almost like a single flowing organism. The documentary further examines sensory adaptations. Centipedes perceive the world mostly through mechanoreception. Tiny hairs along the legs detect subtle vibrations, air currents, and the movement of prey in complete darkness. Chemical cues guide them toward shelter or food. Their eyes are rudimentary, often little more than light sensors, but vision is unnecessary in an environment where the ground vibrates with information. Their entire body functions as a perception field. The final section brings the narrative full circle. The centipede from the opening sequence re-enters its rotting log as rain begins again. Water beads along its armor-like plates. It coils its body among wood fibers, antennae still active even as it settles. Around it, the forest hums with the soft crackle of rainfall and the subtle shifting of nocturnal creatures emerging from day shelters. This is a predator built not for spectacle, but for survival in the rainforest's most claustrophobic spaces. Its venom is not an accident of evolution. It is a solution. Disable prey instantly, end struggles quickly, and guard its elongated body from damage. In a world where frogs leap, rodents bite, and lizards thrash violently, the centipede survives by hijacking the electrical language that controls movement itself. Night deepens. The log darkens. The centipede waits, patient, armored, and perfectly adapted to the nightmare niche it occupies. The deep rainforest holds a kind of silence the rest of the Amazon rarely allows. Not the lively quiet of dawn or the brief hush before a storm, but an older, heavier kind of stillness. Air soaked with moisture, understory shadows stretching long between buttress roots, and a slow, continuous drip of condensation falling from leaves that never fully dried. The forest here feels ancient and cautious, as if every creature inside it has learned the same rule. Move only when absolutely necessary. It's in this deliberate quiet that the camera glides low across the forest floor. Leaf litter lies thick in matted layers, each step a muffled crackle. From above, nothing moves. From below, everything watches. Under this camouflage of stillness, a shape blends so seamlessly into mottled brown and black that even the camera hesitates to reveal it. Then the pattern resolves. A massive bushmaster, Lachesis muta, lies coiled beside a narrow footpath, heavy-bodied and motionless. Its scales form irregular diamond shapes, each patch mimicking light flecks and shadow pools across the ground. The snake's ribs expand and contract slowly, as though the creature is part of the terrain inhaling through the soil itself. This is one of the largest venomous vipers on Earth. Some reach lengths beyond 3 meters, their bodies thick as a man's arm. Their presence a silent argument for why the Amazon is still one of the most dangerous ecosystems to move through without attention. Bushmasters live by stillness. Theirs is an ambush strategy refined over millions of years. Find a rodent trail, a humid corridor, or a route channel where mammals predictably pass, then disappear into the scenery. Unlike rattlesnakes or other vipers accustomed to more open terrain, the bushmaster does not rely on intimidation. Its power lies in invisibility and explosive precision. The snake's head tilts almost imperceptibly. 2 heat-sensing pits, one on each side of the snout, scan the darkness without moving. These organs are exquisitely sensitive, detecting temperature differences far smaller than a fraction of a degree. In a world where visual cues fade quickly under shadowed canopy, heat becomes the primary language of survival. Every warm body emits a signature. Every step becomes an opportunity. A small mammal approaches along the forest path. A rodent, ears pivoting, nose twitching, unaware of how close it is to a predator that has not shifted position for hours. The snake remains still, but inside, systems awaken. Muscles coil. Blood pressure rises. The entire body becomes a compressed spring waiting for the single window where ambush becomes certainty. The strike is not fast by snake standards. It is instantaneous. A coiled mass launches forward, body unfolding, fangs swinging outward like hinged blades. In slow motion, the heat-sensing pits lock onto the mammal's core temperature, guiding the direction with more accuracy than eyesight. The jaws open to nearly 180 degrees. Two extraordinarily long fangs, some of the longest proportional fangs in any viper, drive down and forward. Venom flows not as a trickle, but as a high-volume injection, pushed by powerful muscles around the venom glands. Then, as quickly as it appeared, the snake retracts, recoils, and resets into silence. Inside the victim, biology collapses almost immediately. Bushmaster venom is complex, far more than a simple tissue-destroying hemotoxin. It contains enzymes that interfere with clotting factors, causing blood to clot in places it shouldn't, while refusing to clot where it must. It damages blood vessel linings, creating internal bleeding and pressure shifts. Other components target the nervous system, disrupting communication between nerves and muscles, leading to weakness, paralysis, and ultimately respiratory distress if the dose is high enough. The mammal staggers. Its legs fail to coordinate. Its pupils dilate. The heart struggles against contradictory signals, pressure dropping, blood thickening, vessels leaking. Confusion spreads through the nervous system like a slow electrical blackout. Within minutes, collapse. For the bushmaster, this efficiency is essential. Unlike smaller vipers that can chase, intimidate, or repeatedly strike, the bushmaster's size requires a different strategy. A lengthy body is powerful but not agile. A long tail and heavy frame cannot risk injury in prolonged wrestling. The snake must strike once, deliver enough venom to incapacitate prey quickly, then wait for it to die without further struggle. The venom is not designed for spectacle. It is designed for certainty, in the dark, under roots, with no margin for error. Now the chapter shifts to human encounters, rare but deeply feared where they occur. In remote forest regions where trails run between communities, hunters walk with machetes tapping the ground ahead of them. They do this not out of superstition, but experience. Stories circulate of men stepping near a log and feeling something like a thorn prick, only to realize moments later that a bushmaster had struck from concealment. Many victims describe a warmth spreading from the bite, followed by rapid swelling and an overwhelming sense of weakness. Some collapse before help even arrives. One documented case involves a hunter walking alone at dusk, carrying small game. He stepped on soft leaf litter and heard nothing. The snake was coiled beside the path and struck without warning. His companions found him an hour later, barely conscious, pulse erratic, breathing shallow. The nearest clinic was several kilometers away by canoe. He survived only because the venom dose, while significant, was below lethal threshold, and because he received anti-venom in time. Many others aren't so lucky. The camera pulls back to reveal why the bushmaster's bite can be so dangerous. Its venom glands are large, allowing for high venom yield. Each fang is a hollow needle capable of delivering substantial volume in a single strike. And because bushmasters often rely on ambush rather than intimidation displays, many bites occur when humans accidentally step too close, triggering a defensive response at extremely short range. The documentary maintains a grounded tone. No dramatizing, just ecological fact. Bushmasters do not hunt humans. Every bite is defensive, a last resort when escape is impossible. Their preferred prey consists of rodents, birds, and small mammals. By keeping rodent populations in check, they play a quiet but significant role in forest health. Reducing rodent numbers limits seed predation, shapes plant regeneration, and even affects predator-prey cascades up the food web. But ecological role does not lessen the reality of their danger. Heat-sensing pits, massive venom yield, and perfect camouflage mean that the boundary between safe ground and lethal zone can be a single, misplaced step. The camera now shifts into a slow pan over the forest path where the bushmaster waits. Shadows drift. Leaves settle. The snake's scales look like bark fragments, scattered leaf patterns, a mosaic of camouflage so effective that even after focusing on it for minutes, the eye still loses track. This is the power of an ambush predator. The environment does half the work. The sensory adaptations are highlighted next. Bushmasters rely heavily on temperature gradients. Their thermal pits allow them to map the environment in three-dimensional heat signals. They can detect prey moving behind leaves, under shadows, or even partially concealed. Combined with tongue flicking that samples airborne chemicals, the bushmaster reads the forest as a dynamic chemical thermal landscape. Every footstep creates a thermal disturbance. Every breath emits a plume of scent. The snake interprets these details without moving. The film follows the bushmaster retreating after feeding. Its muscles ripple with slow, heavy contractions. No wasted energy, no unnecessary movement. Unlike agile tree snakes or active hunters like coral snakes, the bushmaster invests in presence, remaining anchored to the ground, moving only when humidity, temperature, or prey availability requires relocation. It may spend days at a single ambush site, digesting slowly, gathering energy in the quietest section of the forest. As night deepens, the rainforest becomes even more cryptic. Frogs call. Insects begin their nocturnal chorus, but the bushmaster remains still. Its camouflage becomes stronger under low light. Its thermal vision becomes more powerful as nighttime temperatures separate warm bodies from cooling backgrounds. The snake's dominance is most complete when the forest's other senses fade. In the closing sequence, the camera rises above the forest floor, showing how small a human footprint is compared to the vastness of the Amazon. A single path, a single hidden predator, a single step that could engage one of the most complex venom systems in the neotropics. The narrator closes with a cold, clinical reminder. The bushmaster is not the forest's apex killer, but it is one of its most perfect ambush engineers. Its venom doesn't just attack blood or nerves, it attacks systems, circulatory, nervous, and muscular. It overwhelms the body the way the Amazon overwhelms the unprepared, quietly, efficiently, and without warning. In this rainforest, survival is often a matter of noticing what never moves.